So let's turn to what will always be of perennial importance to all of us, the personal finance space. Sumit Vaid of Freedom Financial Planners joins us as promised. Sumit, the national pension system, not many of us gave it a look in because it didn't have too much by way of tax advantages, but now it is fetching near double-digit returns, we understand, in the just concluded year, which is at least a percentage point higher than what the EPF, the Employees Provident Fund or the Public Provident Fund has provided. Will this trend continue? Is it a one-year wonder because of the stock markets doing well? How should investors approach the NPS vis-a-vis PPF and EPF?
I think NPS is going in a great direction. It's the right direction which it is going, but it's still early days for NPS. They are building their track record in terms of fund management. The basic USP which NPS provides us vis-a-vis other investment options for accumulation stage of my retirement fund is that cost of fund management is very, very low, and you don't have that option of accessing that kind of cost anywhere else. And those are the advantages which is reflecting in the performance of underlying NPS. But when comes the question of comparing EPF, PPF with NPS, I think it's a no-brainer as of now. Go in for PPF and EPF, but keep a watch on NPS, and an environment will become much clearer in terms of action once the the new tax regime which is being talked about comes out, in which the exempt tax regime which we have been looking forward to comes. That's where the situation will become slightly different. But as of now, it's in favor of EPF, PPF, but keep a watch on NPS.
Okay. Should you actually compare the NPS really to more some of the mutual funds because that is where the tax treatment seems to be more aligned?
That's right. NPS should be compared with mutual funds because the end money is being managed by some of these same fund managers, under the asset management company structure itself. And that's where, as I mentioned earlier, the cost is one big advantage in favor of NPS. The cost being paid is very, very low, obscenely low. In fact, one of the lowest costs of managing retirement funds in the world is in India, and that's where they've done very well. And also one more thing, I think, which we need to keep a watch out for is the pension bill. It needs to get approved in the parliament, because PFRDA getting a statutory status will really pick up this whole pension industry in terms of product development, in terms of companies coming in with specific products. But as a starting point, NPS is good compared to mutual fund. But what you don't have in NPS is intermediation available.
Yeah.
There are very few advisors or planners who are
yeah, exactly what I was coming to. Sumit, the caller is waiting by, so a very quick question. Today, if you have to advise someone on asset allocation for retirement, would NPS have a place?
No, I will still wait for some more time, because for me it's still early stages, and then the biggest challenge in NPS is servicing. The client servicing is a big challenge in terms that's still not very clear how to do it, because the intermediation costs are not built into that.
Okay, we have a caller who's waiting by, so let's speak to him. Rohan Dogra calls in from Delhi. Hi, Rohan.
Hi ma'am, how are you?
Good, I'm well. What's your question?
Actually, my question is, I have invested a large sum of amount in the LIC and equity linked policies.
Okay.
So I want to know, is it good to surrender these policies and invest in mutual funds?
Okay. What can I ask you? How much have you invested and what your goal is?
I have invested total around 2.5 lakhs for the last 4 years.
Okay.
And I haven't decided any goal yet, but I am a junior. I am amateur in this investment.
Okay, no problem. Sumit, what would the call be? I mean, would you advise him to discontinue his current policies and switch over?
I'll basically start off by a simple principle which I'll advise all the viewers to follow, that always buy insurance, don't invest in insurance. And if you have to invest in mutual funds or other investment products. That's a simple rule. Insurance is an expense, and investment has to be in non-insurance kind of a product over a longer period of time. Now, in this current scenario, because he's been paying premiums for 4 years, you have to evaluate each and every policy and see the impact on the surrender value. There is no point in incurring costs. There is no point in incurring losses at point of time. If the losses are high or the surrender charges are very high, then our advice to this particular caller will be to stay put. Do not redeem, do not stop, go on through 3-4 years more cycle. Make sure you're able to take decent returns out of the policy and then switch. Having said that, the basic thumb rule which we always advise people is investing in mutual fund for long term is much better, much less costly than investing in long term for insurance, provided you understand.
Okay. Rohan, see, that is the broad advice that he's giving us. In future, when you want to invest money and see it grow, stick to mutual funds. But for what you have, as Sumit says, you have to consult first the insurance companies from whom you bought the ULIP. Ask them what will be the surrender value and the loss to you. Better would be to consult a financial planner and get someone to help you through this process. There can't be a one-size-fits-all answer with respect to your ULIPs. But future investments, remember, investment is mutual fund and insurance is what you should look for in the insurance products. Thanks a lot for joining us, Sumit and Rohan. And to you viewers, a word, do join us at the same time tomorrow. Harshvardhan Rungta will join us.